Hey everyone, and welcome back. We love to explore the cutting edge. So today we're diving into a world that's rapidly changing the energy industry.
It might seem a little counterintuitive at first glance, but we're talking about digital oil fields.
Digital oil fields. So we're not just talking about pumping oil anymore. We're talking algorithms and data
Yeah.
and is there an app for that?
Well, there might be an app for just about everything these days, but digital oil fields are about way more than just an app. They're transforming how oil and gas companies operate, making the whole process smarter, safer, and even more environmentally friendly.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but I'll admit my knowledge of oil fields is pretty limited. For someone who's more familiar with their smartphone than an oil derrick, paint a picture of what a digital oil field actually looks like.
Right, picture this. A vast network of sensors spread across wells, pipelines, equipment. All these sensors are constantly gathering data, acting like the eyes and ears of the entire operation.
So it's like giving the whole oil field a nervous system, constantly feeding information back to a central brain.
That's a great way to put it. And that central brain is where things get really interesting. We're talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, algorithms, all working together to analyze this mountain of data.
Hold on. AI is making decisions in the oil field. That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It might sound futuristic, but it's happening right now, and it's already having a huge impact. Think about it. Instead of waiting for equipment to break down, AI can predict when maintenance is needed, saving time, money, and preventing potential environmental hazards.
So it's like they're moving from a reactive approach to a proactive one, preventing problems before they even occur. That's pretty impressive. Are there other ways AI is being used to optimize operations?
Absolutely. AI can analyze geological data, creating these incredibly detailed 3D maps of what's underground. This helps pinpoint the best locations for drilling wells and maximize production.
So they're basically using AI to squeeze every last drop of oil or gas out of the ground as efficiently as possible.
Exactly. It's all about optimizing every step of the process. But what about all this data being collected? Are we talking massive server rooms in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, where does it all go?
That's where the cloud comes in. Think of it as the memory of the digital oil field. The cloud provides the storage and processing power to handle this massive amount of data.
So they're basically taking advantage of the flexibility and scalability of the cloud.
Exactly. And this has a huge impact on collaboration because it means that anyone with an internet connection can access this data. Engineers and geologists can collaborate in real time no matter where they are.
So it's like everyone having a shared view of the oil field, no matter where they are. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. This level of connectivity leads to faster, more informed decision-making, which ultimately boosts efficiency and agility.
So we've got all these interconnected sensors feeding data into AI systems, all hosted in the cloud. It sounds incredibly complex.
It is a complex ecosystem, but the beauty of it is how seamlessly these technologies work together. Each element plays a crucial role in creating a more efficient, productive, and ultimately more sustainable oil field.
Okay, I have to admit, the idea of a sustainable oil field sounds a bit counterintuitive. How does all this technology actually benefit the environment?
That's a great question. It challenges our preconceived notions about the industry. Think about those sensors constantly monitoring pipelines. They can detect even tiny leaks, allowing for a rapid response and minimizing environmental damage.
So it's like having an early warning system for potential spills and leaks, which is obviously huge for environmental protection.
Yeah,
Are there other ways this technology contributes to sustainability?
absolutely. By optimizing production processes and reducing waste, digital oil fields can significantly reduce their environmental footprint. And we'll delve into this later, but these technologies are even being used to integrate renewable energy sources into the mix.
Now that is fascinating. It's not just about making oil and gas production more efficient, it's about using technology to create a more sustainable energy future in general.
Exactly. And as we dig deeper into the digital oil field, we'll see how these advancements are changing the industry, with efficiency, safety, and sustainability at the forefront.
Okay, so now we've got a good handle on the what of digital oil fields. But let's move on to the how. How are companies actually implementing all this? Are we talking about brand new oil fields built from the ground up with all the latest bells and whistles, or are they retrofitting existing operations?
That's a key question because it highlights one of the biggest challenges in this digital transformation: integrating cutting-edge technology with existing infrastructure. It can be a bit like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
I bet that sounds like a real headache for these companies.
It certainly can be. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. Each company has to assess its specific needs and develop a tailored approach. Sometimes that involves upgrading existing equipment with sensors and connectivity, while other times it might require building entirely new infrastructure from scratch.
So flipping an old oil field into a digital one isn't as easy as just flipping a switch. There's a lot of planning, investment, and problem solving involved.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the human element. You can have the most advanced technology in the world, but if the people operating it aren't properly trained and supported, it won't reach its full potential.
That makes perfect sense. It's like giving someone a Ferrari and expecting them to win a race without any driving lessons.
Exactly. Workforce adaptation is a crucial aspect of this digital transformation. Companies need to invest in training programs to upskill their employees and equip them with the knowledge and confidence to thrive in this new digital environment.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about making sure that the people who use it are prepared for the change.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another challenge that often gets overlooked: cybersecurity.
Ah, yes. With all these interconnected systems and data flying back and forth, security has to be a major concern.
It's absolutely paramount. A digital oil field is essentially a network of interconnected computers, making it vulnerable to cyber attacks. A security breach could disrupt operations, compromise sensitive data, and even create safety risks.
That's a scary thought. So how are companies addressing these cybersecurity threats?
It's a multi-layered approach. They're implementing robust firewalls and intrusion detection systems, encrypting data, and conducting regular security audits. But it's not just about technology. It's also about educating employees about cybersecurity best practices and creating a culture of vigilance.
So just like with workforce adaptation, it's a combination of technology and human awareness. It sounds like implementing a digital oil field is a complex undertaking, with its fair share of challenges.
It's definitely not for the faint of heart, but the potential rewards are enormous. And as we'll see in our next segment, the innovations in this field are only accelerating, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the oil and gas industry.
All right, I'm on the edge of my seat. Let's dive into these groundbreaking advancements and explore what the future holds for digital oil fields.
Let's do it.
Okay, so color me impressed. We've covered a lot of ground already, but I'm ready to have my mind blown even further. What are some of the most cutting-edge developments on the horizon for digital oil fields?
Well, one area that's generating a ton of excitement is the idea of digital twins, virtual replicas of physical assets.
So instead of just collecting data from the real world, they're creating these virtual versions of everything.
Exactly. Imagine having a digital twin of an entire oil field. You could run simulations, test new technologies, optimize operations, all without any real-world risks.
That sounds like something out of a video game. It's like they're turning the whole oil field into a giant simulator.
In a way, yeah. Digital twins offer incredible potential for innovation and efficiency. Companies could use them to model different drilling techniques, predict production rates, even test the impact of new technologies before implementing them in the real world.
So it's like a giant virtual sandbox for the oil and gas industry. They can experiment and play around without any real-world consequences.
Precisely. It significantly reduces the cost and risk associated with innovation in the oil field. Plus, they can be used to enhance safety as well. By simulating potential hazards and testing emergency response protocols in a virtual environment, companies can proactively identify and mitigate risks.
So they're not just making things more efficient, they're making them safer too. Are there other futuristic technologies on the horizon for digital oil fields?
Another game changer is blockchain technology. Now, you might associate blockchain with cryptocurrencies, but its potential applications are far broader. Imagine a world where every barrel of oil is tracked from the wellhead to the refinery to the gas station, all in a secure and transparent digital ledger.
So every drop of oil would have its own unique digital fingerprint. That's pretty wild.
And incredibly powerful. Think about the implications for transparency and accountability. It could help prevent fraud, streamline supply chains, and even give consumers more information about the energy they're using.
It's amazing how technology is not only making the industry more efficient, but also creating a more ethical and transparent energy system as a whole. It's about more than just extracting oil and gas. It's about doing it responsibly.
Exactly. And that brings us to another exciting development: the integration of renewable energy sources into digital oil fields.
Wait a minute, renewable energy in an oil field? I thought those were two completely separate worlds.
They used to be, but we're seeing more and more convergence. Companies are starting to use the same sensors, data analytics, and cloud computing infrastructure they've developed for oil and gas to manage and optimize solar and wind farms.
So the expertise and technology they've built for oil and gas can actually be repurposed to support the growth of renewable energy.
Precisely. It's about leveraging existing knowledge and infrastructure to accelerate the adoption of cleaner energy sources. It's a really exciting trend.
That's incredible. It sounds like digital oil fields are actually playing a role in shaping a more sustainable energy future.
Absolutely. They're not just about extracting more oil and gas, they're about finding innovative ways to meet the world's energy needs in a responsible and environmentally conscious way.
Okay, I'm officially on board with this whole digital oil field revolution, but let's not forget about the people involved. How are oil and gas workers adapting to this increasingly digital world?
That's a crucial question. Companies need to prioritize workforce adaptation. It's not just about implementing new technologies, it's about making sure that workers have the skills and support they need to succeed in this new environment.
So investing in training and education is essential.
Absolutely. Companies need to provide opportunities for workers to learn about these new technologies and develop the skills to operate and maintain them. And it's not just about technical skills, it's also about fostering a culture of collaboration and continuous learning.
So the way people work is changing as well. It's becoming more collaborative, more data-driven.
Exactly. And that shift in mindset is key to unlocking the full potential of the digital oil field.
So we've talked about the technology, the people, the potential benefits, but let's be realistic. Are there any downsides to all of this? Are there any risks or challenges associated with this digital transformation?
That's a really important question, and it's one we need to be upfront about. One of the biggest concerns, as we mentioned before, is cybersecurity. As oil fields become more connected, they also become more vulnerable to cyber attacks.
So the stakes are higher if something goes wrong.
Exactly. A successful attack on a digital oil field could disrupt production, steal sensitive data, even put people at risk.
That's a sobering thought.
Mm.
What are companies doing to protect themselves?
They're investing a lot in cybersecurity firewalls, intrusion detection systems, encryption technologies, and they're working to educate employees about best practices and create a security-conscious culture.
So it's a two-pronged approach, technology and awareness. But are there any other potential downsides we need to be aware of?
Another big one is the possibility of job displacement. As automation and AI take on more tasks in the oil field, some jobs that were traditionally done by humans might disappear.
That's a real concern. What can be done about that?
Well, some companies are already investing in retraining programs to help workers develop the skills they need for the jobs of the future, and others are exploring entirely new roles that will emerge as a result of this digital transformation. Data analysts, cybersecurity specialists, remote operators. These are just a few examples.
So it's not just about jobs disappearing, it's also about new opportunities being created.
Exactly. And ultimately, it's about making sure that this digital transformation benefits society as a whole, not just a select few. We need to be mindful of the potential impacts and work to mitigate any negative consequences.
It's a reminder that technology is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It's up to us to make sure we're using it responsibly. But looking ahead, what does the future hold for digital oil fields? Where do we go from here?
That's where things get really exciting. We've only scratched the surface of what's possible. There's a whole universe of potential out there just waiting to be explored.
Okay, so we've gone deep on the techs, the trends. But I keep thinking about this. What does the digital oil field mean, for the rest of us? Not just the industry.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? We can get lost in the gadgets, but ultimately, technology should serve people.
So how does all this shape our lives? Beyond, filling up the gas tank.
Well, for one, it's changing the kinds of jobs out there. This isn't just roughnecks anymore. It's data scientists, software folks, skills that are valuable everywhere.
So someone who learns to optimize an oil well with AI could then go tweak a factory, a city grid, that kind of thing.
Exactly. The digital oil field is like a training ground for this whole new workforce. And it's not just the people, it's the tech itself.
Right. Those sensors, the networks, they're not oil field specific, are they?
Nope. Adapt that stuff for smart cities, agriculture, you name it. So the innovation spills over. Benefits everyone.
Okay, that's the economic side. But earlier we were talking about the environment. Does this really help us go greener?
It's a piece of the puzzle, for sure.
Hmm.
Look, shifting to renewables is massive, but a lot of the know-how from digital oil fields applies there, too.
Really? Like how so?
Managing a wind farm, solar array, it's complex. You need to predict output, balance the grid. That's where data, AI, remote monitoring come in. stuff oil and gas is already using.
So it's almost like practice for an even bigger shift in how we get our energy.
I think so. And as homes, businesses make their own power, that gets even more complicated. The digital oil field is almost a testing ground for that future.
Wow. So this isn't just about efficiency, it's about resilience too, huh? Like if the grid goes down.
Exactly. And as energy gets cheaper, more accessible, that changes everything. Economies, societies, even what individuals can do.
Man, we've covered so much. Sensors to AI to the fate of the planet. Anything else we haven't touched on that you want to leave folks with?
This is just one example. Digital transformation is hitting every industry. The lesson here is, this impacts us all, so stay curious, learn the tech. It's how we shape the future, not just be shaped by it.
Powerful stuff. Huge thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We hope you found it as eye-opening as we did.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
to everyone listening, keep asking those big questions. The future's not set in stone, it's built by us.